Alright, so some of y'all got on to me about looking away from the road. I am using a hands-free setup, but the angle is just not the greatest. So bear with me. The subject of today is how much time is the right amount of time No, that ain't it. Good afternoon. So I am on my way to go pick up my middle youngin from play practice. And then I'm going to go home where I'm going to drop him off, and his mother is going to take him and his sister to church, and they're going to pick up one of my friend's daughters and take her with them. And I'm taking my youngest to basketball practice. And that's the topic I want to discuss. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord is a statement that I don't mind making because I want it to be a true statement. But I've heard people talk about going to church needs to be your priority, and skipping church for other extracurriculars is not okay. For the most part, actually, I agree. For the most part, I say that is correct. I want my children to grow up in a household where attending a local body is the expectation. I don't think that means it needs to rule your life. Christ is king, not the church. Definitely not the pastor. But you should definitely find yourself a pastor that is trustworthy, and that teaches in a manner that you learn in. I don't want to get off in the weeds on that. For the past, I don't know, since November, my youngest has been playing basketball, and he's had Wednesday night practice since November. Now, the season will be over in early February, and my youngest never really showed any interest in sports a whole lot. He played soccer a couple of times, and then he, at the end of his last season that he played, he's like, I don't want to do that no more. And I'm like, okay. Well, this year, out of the blue, without being incentivized or anything, he's like, Dad, I want to play basketball. I want to try basketball. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll sign you up. Usually, the county we live in, their rec system doesn't usually practice on Wednesdays, but I didn't know what I didn't know, and basketball, they take it a little bit more serious, and there's more teams, so there's more demand for space, and they are practicing on Wednesdays. And I thought about that, and I struggled with that a little bit, and then I decided his entire life he's been back and forth to church, and that is something that is eternal, that he will take with him, into the afterlife. Basketball is not. But can I legitimately say that if I let him practice, I am reneging on the standard of, hey, this is how we're going to live our lives, and as long as you're my child and you live under my roof, you're going to attend. And I landed on no. And the reason that I landed on no is because this child wanted to try this thing out to see if he was any good at it, to see if he enjoyed it. to see if it's something that he wanted to put time into, to practice, to get good at. And it's not like he's missing every Sunday and every Wednesday, and it's not like that. He's missing Wednesdays from mid-November to early February. He's still going to church on Sundays. He's still growing up in a home that honors Christ. He just isn't going to this Wednesday night service for the basketball season this season. And so yeah, that's where I fell. And I feel like this is a situation that needs to be handled on a case-by-case basis. If you flatly disagree with me, go ahead. That is okay. I will say this. My son's eternity is more important than his basketball season. But his basketball season is not going to negatively impact his eternity, because I've already laid the foundation of truth in his life. And I started that from his birth. And he's going to grow up knowing where my priorities are, where his priorities are expected to be while he lives in my house. And when he becomes a man and he moves out on his own, if he decides, he disagrees with me, that will be his prerogative. I hope and pray that he continues to honor Christ for the rest of his life. I hope that for all of my children. I also accept that I can do all that I can do, but I cannot make their decisions for them. So that's where I fall. I'd like to know what you think. I kind of miss getting to go to church myself on Wednesdays. I have for several years now been involved in the mentorship programs that we have in our church for the young boys there, and I miss doing that. But this one-on-one time that I have spent with my son has a value in and of itself that I'll never be able to replace. And he'll never, ever, be able to have that taken away from him, that memory of, hey, Dad took out time to make certain I got to practice, even though it was, outside of our norm. Even though he had to make special arrangements and we had to take multiple cars and we had to, that memory of him being valuable to me can never, ever be taken away from him. So on top of him getting to play some basketball, there's other values there that are being added. So maybe I'm wrong. If you can show me in Scripture that I am, I will absolutely honor that. And if you have a different opinion and you want to think about it or reconsider it, that maybe that's good too. Either way, that is my spiel for driving home talking to myself. So y'all be safe.